It's time for Reading Queen. A Tale of Magic, the last chapter. It's the final chapter. I've been reading this book since like the beginning of time. And in the beginning it was like and then Bristol Evergreen left the palace, but anyways, it's time to get started. I'm so excited. This is the final chapter. Let's do it. Chapter 22, The Tale of Magic. A stampede of unicorns raced through the in-between, with dozens and dozens of young women on their backs. The majestic steeds retrieved all the workers from the Bootstrap Correctional Facility and transported them to the Celeste Weatherbury Memorial Academy of Magic. The exhausted and emaciated girls were completely enchanted by the magical creatures beneath them. Many of them laughed and cheered for the first time in years, some for the first time in their lives, and they looked at the thick woods around them with wide eyes and exciting grins. Within 2 hours of their departure, the unicorns were crossing through the hedge barrier, and young women laid eyes on the academy picturesque property for the first time. They were absolutely astonished by all the colorful trees and flowers, the crystal clear streams and lakes, the sparkling ocean on the horizon, and the soaring griffins and fluttering pixies in the bright blue sky. The unicorns unloaded their passengers at the castle front steps, where Bristol, Lucy, Emeralda, Xanthus, Tangerine, Skylene, and Mrs. V were eagerly awaiting their new arrivals. "Pip!" Bristol exclaimed. She instantly spotted her small friend among the newcomers and ran down the front steps to give her a big, welcoming hug. "I'm so happy to see you," Bristol said. "I've thought all about you every day ever since you left the facility. I hope you're all right." "I'm doing much better now that I'm here," Pip said. "Did those awful Edgars treat you terribly when I left?" Bristol asked. "Nothing I wasn't used to," Pip said with a shrug. "You should have seen Mr. and Mrs. Edgar's faces when they got the command to release us from the facility. They had just accepted an order from the Eastern Kingdom for 5,000 pairs of boots. Now they have to make them all by themselves." Bristol laughed. "I normally don't find pleasure in someone else's misfortune, but just this once, I think it's okay to relish it," she said. Pip stared at the castle, mesmerized by its shimmering golden walls. "I can't believe you did it," she said. "Did what?" Bristol asked. "You found a house by the ocean," Pip said. "It's even better than the one we used to dream about." "It's a wonderful place to live," Bristol said. "I think you'll be very happy here." "I already am," Pip said. Once all the girls had climbed down from the unicorns, Bristol went to the top of the castle's front steps to greet them. "Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Celeste Weatherbury Memorial Academy of Magic," she said. "Allow me to introduce you to my friends, Mrs. V, Lucy Gousset, Emeralda Stone, Xanthus Hayfield, Tangerina Turkin, and Skylene Lavenders." "You may call me Madam Lavenders," Skylene told the girls. For those of you who don't remember me from the Bootstrap Correctional Facility, my name is Bristol Evergreen, she said. Oh, we remember you, said a girl. How could we forget, said another. Well, I'm happy we're all reunited, Bristol said. This academy was founded by our dearly departed mentor, Madam Weatherbury, and it's thanks to her that we have a place to learn and grow. We're going to honor Madam Weatherbury's legacy by helping you improve and expand your magical abilities. And once you've mastered your skills, we'll venture beyond the academy and use our magic to help and heal people who need us. Over the next few weeks, we'll be teaching you about the 5 categories of magic: improvement, manifestation, rehabilitation, imagination, and protection, Emeralda said. But before we give you a tour of the castle or the grounds, we wanted to share a couple of rules we'll expect you to follow while staying at the academy. Rule number 1, Xanthus said, never leave the academy grounds without an instructor. Rule number 2, Tandrina said, always treat everyone with respect. Rule number 3, Skylane said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is what learning is all about. And rule number 4, Lucy said, don't do anything I would do. After the rules were announced, a loud rumbling came from above, and everyone gazed up at the castle. A large tower suddenly grew out of the 3rd floor corridor with enough bedrooms to accommodate all the young women joining the academy. Looks like your rooms are ready, Mrs. V said. Before you get settled, you're all going to follow me straight into the dining room for a much-needed meal. But let me warn you from personal experience, if anyone in the castle but me offers you food, run as fast as you can. Ha ha! The bubbly housekeeper led the young woman up the front steps and into their new home. Bristol, Lucy, Emeralda, Xanthus, Tangerine, and Skylane beamed with pride as they watched the new pupils enter the academy. I can't believe we have students, Skylane said. Me neither, Lucy said. Do you think we're responsible enough for this? Maybe we should have started with a plant or a goldfish first. I think we'll be fine, Tandrina said. I love telling people what to do. Wait a second, Xanthus asked. If we're the teachers now, I suppose we're not classmates anymore, are we? Nope. I believe this means we've officially graduated to being fairies, Emeralda said. We're not just fairies, Skylane teased. We're the Fairy Council, remember? It's a shame Bristol didn't come up with a better name, Lucy said. I have a feeling that one will stick around for a while. The fairies shared a laugh with one another, but Bristol wasn't paying attention. She was gazing across the property, watching the hedge barrier with disappointment. Uh-oh, Lucy said. Bristol's doing it again. Doing what? She said, sadly looking off into the distance. You do it all the time, Xanthus said. I do? Bristol asked. Oh, yeah, Tandrina said. And now we're going to have to spend a minimum of 5 minutes convincing you to tell us what's on your mind. Well, I just don't want to trouble us with your concerns, Emeralda asked. We know, but the funny thing is, you trouble us more by keeping us in suspense. So just spit it out already, Skylane said. Bristol blushed at the others' playful comments and grinned against her will. You know, having such close friends can be a real nuisance sometimes, she said. I was hoping more people would be here by now. That's why I look sad. Magic has been legalized for the first time in centuries. I thought people would be rushing to join the academy, but I suppose the magical community isn't ready to come out of the shadows just yet. Everyone comes out on their own time, Xanthus said. We've just got to stay patient and positive, and keep letting them know we'll be here when they're ready. Bristol nodded. You're right, Xanthus, she said. You're absolutely right. After the few students enjoyed a hearty meal in the dining room, the fairies helped the girls get situated in their bedrooms. Once everyone was settled, Bristol headed downstairs to continue watching the hedge barrier for any other guests who might be on their way. As she descended the floating staircase, the doors of Madame Weatherberry's office caught the corner of her eye. Bristol had been avoiding the office since they returned to the academy. She wanted to believe Madame Weatherberry was still inside and convinced herself a part of the fairy would always be there if they kept the doors shut. Bristol pictured the fairy sitting behind her desk, eagerly waiting for a troubled pupil to knock on her door and solicit her comforting words of wisdom. However, now that Madame Weatherberry was gone, the new students would be coming to Bristol for advice, and an empty office wasn't going to do anyone any good. So she forced herself to push open the wooden doors and stepped inside. Everything in the office, the clouds drifting along the high ceiling, the bubbles floating out from the fireplace, the shelves of spell books, the cabinets of potions, the glass furniture of spell books, the glass furniture was exactly as Madame Weatherberry had left it. The only difference was the missing piece of the map of magic that Bristol had cut out. She waved her wand, and the missing chunk of the Northern Kingdom reappeared. Just as they planned, Madame Weatherberry had found some place so secluded in the northern mountains that not a trace of her appeared on the map. Bristol pointed her wand to the corner of her office, and a large globe appeared. However, unlike a regular globe, Bristol's globe showed her what the planet looked like from space. She spun the globe to inspect the Northern Kingdom and was pleased to see a small patch of northern lights glimmering through the northern mountains. Hello, Madame Weatherberry, Bristol whispered to the globe. I hope you're well. Bristol crossed the window and checked the hedge barrier in the distance, but there still wasn't any sign of anyone from the magical community. She let out a long sigh and sat down behind Madame Weatherberry's glass desk. It was a subconscious decision to sit in her teacher's former seat. But once she realized where she had placed herself, Bristol quickly leaped to her feet. She wasn't ready for the significance of that just yet. I guess this is your office now, huh? The unexpected voice startled Bristol. She looked around the office and saw Lucy standing in the doorway. I guess it is, Bristol said. The castle feels so weird without her, doesn't it? I wonder if it will always feel like something is missing. Probably, Lucy said. Luckily for us, Madame Weatherberry cast herself a wonderful understudy before she left. Thanks, Bristol said. I hope I can live up to the task. Don't worry, I've got faith in you for the both of us, Lucy said. She and Bristol exchanged a sweet smile, and for a split second, Lucy made Bristol feel like she belonged behind Madame Weatherberry's desk. Lucy, on the other hand, had no problem sitting in their teacher's seat. She made herself comfortable in the glass chair and kicked her feet up onto the desk. Everything is going to be different now for you now, Lucy said. Personally, I think I'm going to enjoy being best friends with the most powerful person in the world. Every world leader needs at least one controversial friend. I can keep the public distracted if you're ever facing a scandal. Oh, please, Bristol said. I'm not the most powerful person in the world. Of course you are. Did you hear yourself bossing those judges around? You've got them and the sovereigns in the palm of your hand. They're so afraid of the Snow Queen, they're going to do anything you tell them to do. My gosh, you're right, Bristol said in disbelief. In just a couple of months, I've gone from a schoolgirl to leader of the free world. How did that happen? It's one heck of a political climb, Lucy said. What are we going to call you now that you're so powerful? If you ask me, there's no point in having power unless it comes with a fancy title. How about Commander of Magic? No. That sounds like a romance novel. Counselor of Fairies? No, that's the name of a terrible one-man show I saw once. The Fairy Empress? Oh no, that just sounds like a perfume. Fairy Overlord? No, too crazy. Oh, I know. What about the Fairy Godmother? To me, it says, yes, I'm a nice person, but I also mean business. I'm not ready for a title, Bristol said. I still can't believe I'm in charge of the academy. I'm going to need a few days before I can accept I'm also the... Bristol went quiet before she finished her sentence. She suddenly realized she was much more prepared for the unexpected position than she had thought. Actually, maybe I did know this day was coming, she thought out loud. Despite all those years when I was told I didn't matter, and despite all the people who told me I'd never amount to anything, I always knew I was destined for a great purpose. It makes no sense why a girl living in the Southern Kingdom would believe such things. At the time, we were only allowed to be wives and mothers, but if it hadn't been for those encouraging little voices inside me, I may never have made it this far. In a way, I feel like everything in my life has been preparing for this moment. Perhaps that's been my specialty all along. The faith I had in myself? Nah, that just sounds like sarcasm, Lucy said. I figured out your specialty a long time ago. I'm surprised you still haven't. Well, she asked, what is it? I think about all those times you put others before yourself, Lucy said. You helped your brother study for an examination you weren't even allowed to take. You took the fall for Pip when she got caught borrowing blankets in the facility. You spent your first night at the academy reading the tales of Tidbit Twitch to the others so they wouldn't be frightened of a thunderstorm. You baked me a whole cake from scratch just so I'd feel welcome here. And then, when I ran away, you went into a dangerous forest and tried to find me. Even now, instead of letting your newfound power corrupt you, you're focusing on all your efforts on making the world a better place. Obviously, you have a specialty for compassion. Bristol was touched by Lucy's words. Do you really think I have a specialty for compassion? She asked. You're not just sucking up to me because I'm the fairy godmother, are you, now? Nope, I mean it, Lucy said with a confident nod. Otherwise, it would just be weird how much you care about helping other people. Just then, the wooden doors swung open, and Esmeralda, Xanthus, Tangerina, and Skywayne charged into the office. The young fairies' cheeks were bright red, and they were all panting as if they'd been running. Oh, there you are, Esmeralda said. We've been looking all over the castle for you. Bristol, you should come outside, Xanthus said. Like now! Why, what's wrong? She asked. Are the students okay? The students are fine, Tandrina said. People from the magical community have started showing up. That's wonderful, Bristol explained. How many have joined us so far? A dozen? 10? At least 5. Skylene said with difficulty. I'm not the best with numbers, but I'd say more like all of them. Bristol thought her friends were playing a practical joke on her, but the look in their overwhelmed eyes didn't waver. She turned to the enlarged map of magic above the fireplace and was stunned to see that the majority of the stars were moving through the southeast in between toward the academy. Bristol ran to the window, looking toward the hedge barrier in the distance, and gasped at what she saw. At the edge of the property, Horrence and his 3-headed horses had crossed through the barrier and were followed by a line of hundreds and hundreds of people. The line kept coming and coming until there were almost 1,000 members of the magical community inside the academy grounds. The travelers were both young and old. Some traveled in groups or with families, while others traveled completely alone. They had clearly journeyed from places near and far. Most had recently been released from prisons, while others had spent their entire lives on the run or hiding. Regardless of their differences, each and every person wore the same expression of sheer amazement as they gazed around the property. And not just because of the vibrant plants and enchanted animals, but for the first time in their lives, the magical community was laying eyes on a place where they would be safe from persecution, a place where they could be themselves without discrimination, and most important, a place that they could finally call home. We're going to need a much bigger castle, Bristol said. And name tags, Lucy said. Lots and lots of name tags. Without wasting another second, Bristol, Lucy, Emeralda, Xanthus, Tandrina, and Skylene hurried out of the office, ran down the floating staircase, and emerged on the castle's front steps to greet the newcomers. The travelers gathered around the castle and looked at the fairies for guidance. Psst! Bristol! Lucy whispered. Say something. What should I say? She whispered back. I don't know, Lucy said. Something inspirational like you always do. Bristol's friends nudged her forward, and she nervously waved to the large crowd as she looked into all hopeful but wary eyes of the magical community. Bristol was reminded of her final moments with Madame Weatherberry, and she knew exactly what she wanted to say. Hello, everyone, she said. I can only imagine what you've all been through to get here, both in life and on the road. This historic day is possible thanks to a long story of brave men and women making tremendous sacrifices, and although the fight for acceptance and freedom may seem like it's over, but our work isn't finished. The world will never be a better place for us until we make it a better place for all. And no matter what challenges await us, no matter whose favor we've yet to learn, we cannot allow anyone's hate to rob us of our compassion or dampen our ambition along the way. The truth is, Bristol continued, there will always be a fight. There will always be bridges to cross and stones to turn. But we must never forfeit our joy to the times we live in. When we surrender our ability to be happy, we become as flawed as the battles we face. And too many lives have already been lost for us to lose sight of what we're fighting for now. So let's honor people who gave their lives for this moment to happen. Let's cherish their memory by living each and every day as freely, as proudly, and as joyfully as they would have wanted us to. Together, let's begin a new chapter for our community. So when they tell our story years in the future, the tale of magic has a happy and prosperous ending. That's the end, and oh my gosh, the end of this big, thick book. Wow. Let's see how long this is. It's 481 pages long. Awesome. I dare you take a screenshot right now and then count all the pages and see if you got it right. And see if you get 481. Okay, so that's A Tale of Magic, the final chapter. The whole book is done. There is a sequel, which I will probably read in like a couple weeks, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to this story. It's a very good story. It's one of my favorite series. And I hope you liked it. And if you did, hit the subscribe button, press the like button, and if you really liked it, which you really should because it's an amazing ending, then share to your friends for more awesome videos like this. Bye!